but we're all people that care about our community. We care about Watauga County. We care about the 5th District. We care about North Carolina.
I've been involved in public education in North Carolina since 1998. I just want to drive home a couple of comments about the intent behind House Resolution 610. This is presented under the discourse of school choice. Who can argue against parents having a choice about how their children are educated? The problem with the discourse here is that the free market principle of choice and competition is the driving foundation of this program. Schools, children, learning, humans are not things that are inherently made better through competition. Encouraging teachers and children to compete against one another for resources to improve student test scores very rarely works out in our best interests. In 2015, a national Gallup poll found 69% of Americans were against the use of school vouchers for private schools. This is very clear where we stand as a nation about how to educate our children and how to use our public's tax dollars.
I wanted to say that I'm a student of Watauga County, and that I know that I've been to a private school before, and it wasn't the way that I could learn. It wasn't my best way that I could learn, and so if you're taking away public schooling and taking away that freedom, I just wanted to tell Virginia Foxx, think of the people that need that schooling. Think of the people who need that way of learning. That's all.
Access to health care. I think, as we all know, access to health care doesn't matter. We all have access to visit the Biltmore House. It doesn't mean that we can afford to live there or own it. Or even go. So these are her, or even go. These are her.
Hey, I'm Mark Murray. I'm a family doctor here in Boone. I know a lot of you, but not everybody. I've been here for 25 years doing primary care. I'm a solo practitioner. I have nurse practitioner. One of the biggest challenges that we have, whether people have insurance or not, is trying to figure out how to affordably take care of them, both in diagnosing and prescribing and evaluating things. Even if you have health insurance, it's still a challenge. But if you don't have health insurance, it's almost impossible to have quality health care. I support the Affordable Care Act. I'm not even real sure what all the complaints are about it. You know, everybody's saying, oh, it's a mess. I really haven't seen it be a mess. I've got many other patient experiences where people had great experiences. You know, my eventual hope is that we'll have universal health care and a single payer at some point.
I also want to invite Virginia to meet some of my friends, many of whom are upper middle class, small business owners, givers back to the community who, before the Affordable Care Act, because they were self-employed and had conditions, that pre-existing conditions, were paying well over $1,000 a month for health insurance or more. And these friends of mine now can at least start looking forward to a reasonable retirement without spending all of their retirement money on their health care. And finally, I'll close it off with talking about my dad, who's 92. I was raised by a very Republican dad who, until last year, was a dues-paying member of the GOP, and who chose not to vote me presidential election. He also retired from the health insurance industry, representing the whole trade industry. And it's been interesting to me to see how Dad has come around. If he was here today, and he'll be moving to North Carolina soon, he would tell you from his background in the healthcare industry that universal healthcare, Virginia, is the only way to go. Thank you.
You went to the March in Washington. My daughter was there. After I read the story in the News and Observer after that, I looked at the comments on it, and I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? They were saying that there's a bunch of deadbeats. There's a bunch of people that should have jobs. If they had jobs, they wouldn't have time to do this. So let me ask you a few questions. How many people in this room either have a job or are retired from a job or are single or a working mom? How many? I want Virginia to make sure she sees the number of people who have their hands up. Media, y'all be sure to report that.
Business owner.
I want to know how many, the other thing that was alleged is all these people were hauled in from out of state. I want to know how many of you are here and live in the 5th District and vote in the 5th District in North Carolina. Virginia, I want to make sure you see that. How many of you were here, were hired by either Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama to come today? I want Virginia to see that. How many hired by Hillary? Oh, we got one paid protester. How much money? Yeah, okay. How much money do you have? Okay. How many of you here are afraid that there's damage being done and damage that will be done and are afraid of the country your children or grandchildren are going to live in after these next 4 years? I just want to tell you I'm so proud of the people in this room, proud of the people I marched with in Raleigh, proud of the people that my daughter marched with in Washington, D.C. And I will say, kind of following up on what was just said, I'm going to do my doggonest to make sure somebody here doesn't go unopposed in an election.
Hi, my name is Elise McLaughlin. I know that we have been watching since the new administration has taken office so many abuses of power, right? Every day there's just another thing that happens, and there's a great risk of all of us normalizing that, and people that maybe don't agree with us normalizing that. This past week we found out that our new Attorney General lied under oath. So, you know, when did that become acceptable for someone in such a high position, anyone in a position of power in our government, to lie? It's so striking, it's appalling. So what I want to ask you, Representative Foxx, is what is your stand on Jeff Sessions remaining in his position of Attorney General? Because it's not okay with me at all. And it shouldn't be okay with anybody who really believes in our democratic process.
Good afternoon. In 2003, right about this time, I was one member of a large military force that was assembled in the desert of Kuwait, waiting for orders from then President Bush to attack Iraq. That order came on my mother's birthday, March 18th, and on the 20th, I was part of the tank battalion that rolled into Basra and then eventually into Baghdad. And I am already against the next war. I'm going to assume that I'm like he told us was that we are going to increase our manufacturing, that we are going to make guns and bombs and airplanes and ships and our children are going to sail those ships. Not my children. You do not ramp up your military spending. You do not ramp up your military production if you're not planning on going to war. So my question, Ms. Foxx, is where are we going to war and why? You explain it to me, because the last time you told me that we were going to war to avenge 9/11 in a country that had nothing to do with the attack. We were going to war to find non-existent weapons of mass destruction. My friends paid the sacrifice. We all paid the sacrifice. Some of us came home in flag-draped coffins. Some of us came home as different people than we were when we left. And when we asked for medical care, it wasn't given to us. Now, let's be fair. Republican President Dwight Eisenhower had this to say as he was leaving office. Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, from those who are cold and are not clothed. Thank you.
My name is Jenny Marshall, and I am now. I am running against Virginia Foxx. So I'll make this real short and sweet. I'm a public school teacher, and the comments that Virginia Foxx has made about public school, the Department of Education, are just abhorrent. Her policies do not empower people, they do not lift anybody out of poverty, and we need a change in Washington.
My name is Brian Juno. I was drafted on April Fool's Day, 1968. Spent 15 months in Vietnam. I'm in for that. They will stand for a guy who disrespects veterans. They will stand for a guy who blames the generals because of Yemen, while she and the rest of the Republicans, her comrades, can I use that term, comrade now? Her comrades were talking about Benghazi endlessly. A brave man died doing what he would do, working for the State Department. He took a chance. He lost his life. The people who guarded him lost their lives. It was tragic. He was a brave man. It was a disaster. Brave people are putting their lives on the line every day. And what are they doing? They're cutting State Department funding. They're cutting aid to foreign nations, which helps us build good relationships. What are you doing? You're going to cost lives, and what are we going to do to bail it out? We're going to make everybody in the world mad, and then we're going to send our children to fight. I'm not exactly in tune with everybody here. I know a lot of peace-loving folks. I'm a peace-loving man. But my daddy one time told me a story about a little old man got put in a corner. And he came out, he tried to talk him out of it. He tried to talk him out of it. When he got pushed, he came out of that corner fighting. And the man he fought lost. That's us. We're going to beat these people. We're going to take this country back. We're not going to make it greater again. We're going to make it decent again. Yes.
Hi, my name is Linwood Brown, and I have just a modest request for Virginia Foxx, but it just seems so fundamental to me right now. I believe in differences of opinion. I believe in different parties, different people bringing up different ideas. But here's my request, is that we base it on something that's commonly recognized. My request to her specifically is, if she makes a statement about something observed or reported, or if she makes a policy, that she provides us with some documentation, some peer-reviewed evidence that what she's saying is true. That she refrains from repeating wild conspiracy, be it about election fraud, about all these illegal aliens voting. There is a lot of that. This hits at the very foundation of our ability to govern ourselves. I just asked her, don't repeat things unless you can provide documentation. And more importantly, don't put forth policies unless you can show it actually works. Have we ever had any data that trickle-down economics works? No, we've never had any of that. So that's my request. Thank you.
My name is Ryan Fowler. I was born in Watauga County 35 years ago. I've lived here the majority of my life. And my question to Virginia Foxx is, what are you doing to help the people of Watauga County? Not special interest groups, not corporations, and it's what are you doing to help the people that live here, that you were elected, that we ostensibly elected you to go to Washington and do a job for us. And my question is, when are you going to start doing that job and standing up for the people of Watauga County? Whether it be with the ACA, whether it be with these questions that, was this, you know, what part did Russia play in our election? And how are we going to protect our environment? What, you know, one of the things that just puzzles me is that you can come representing an area that's got so much beauty and so much biodiversity and just a wonderful wilderness area and be against protecting that. It just blows my mind. So my question is just, what are you going to do for us?
I'm Shannon Carroll. I really wasn't prepared to speak, but just as the gentleman before me said, I think a topic that's being left out of these conversations is if we don't have clean air, if we don't have clean water, if we don't have land where we can produce food to eat, a lot of this other stuff isn't going to matter. So, you know, you call it climate change, call it global warming, call it all this crazy weather that we're having around the world, whatever you want to call it, but those are topics that we need to be speaking about, educating people about, and doing things to make a difference. There are options for clean energy. We do not need to continue to use fossil fuels. There are solutions. So let's make sure that that is part of our conversation going forward as well.
I want to follow in the comments, Mrs. Foxx. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Sarah Miller. I teach at Appalachian. And I have lived in countries where there are not regulations about pollution. I have breathed the diesel fumes. I have wiped the soot off my children's faces. I have seen the water in the lakes and the land that is not fit for use. I've also seen the health impacts it has on people who don't have health care. That is not a road you want to take us down, I promise you. I've also lived in places where people who protest elections meet a machine gun, and that is the last protest that they ever attend. Because they do not have agency, they do not have a free press. And if we are heading in that direction right now, frighteningly, for our children, for ourselves, and believe me, when you have lived in countries where those are daily realities, and people risk their lives to go to school, they risk their lives to cross a country to access one doctor in 20,000 who's in their country, or they can't get places because there is no transportation. They die from dysentery because there is no clean water. If you take away regulation, and if you vote against education for everyone, then you are leading us in the path of countries that already have that, and I have seen what that looks like, and that's not a country you want to live in. That is not a country that you represent. So we all need to keep on the road. You need to vote to represent all your constituents, and that means hearing every voice and not running away from people who come to see you, from the phone calls and the letters.
So many people are so motivated, so much passion, so much liveliness, so much humanity. It inspires a person to speak. And so, a moment that I keep running through my head happened about a week ago. My parents came to see me, and my parents have never been horribly irate people. My father is one of the kindest, most compassionate men that I could possibly imagine in this world, and I'm wonderfully fortunate to have been raised by him. And I reminisce about a time back when I was in college and I first became politically aware. My eyes, opened during the Bush administration, and I was full of anger, and I don't want to take us down that road of speaking about the things of the past that I'm sure that many of us could agree upon anyway. But I was angry. And I remember going home to see my parents and sharing those feelings with my parents over and over again, and the things that I questioned and felt as though were being pulled over everybody's eyes, and feeling like suddenly I was seeing it, like, why don't you see this? You know, and I remember my dad looking at me and saying, son, the country that I was raised in, the country that I was born in, it's a good country. Everyone around this world looks up to us, and they look to us for help, they look to us for encouragement. And if the things that you're saying are true, I just don't want to believe it. And some part of me just felt like, Dad, why are you turning your eyes? But another part of me felt a little bit like you have the courage to at least believe. And a week ago, when my parents came to see me, and I looked in my father's eyes as we discussed the things that are happening, I think it was eloquently described as being like a ship captain earlier, and I think that's very well put, doing damage reports. Every day we wake up a little more angry, we wake up a little more scared. And my father, the patient, kind, all-believing man who believes in God and believes that all things, that when we have faith, are going to right themselves, looked at me and said, I'm starting to think that this just isn't the country that I always thought it was. That broke my heart. But I look around and I see so many people, so many different generations in this room right now who have faith, who have passion. They are not buried. We are not down in the dirt. We're not with our heads in the dirt anymore. It's okay to be angry. We got to find a place to make it constructive, and that's where it gets tough. But let's keep looking around. Let's keep looking around for the people whose eyes are up. Let's find each other. Let's work together. Let's make the phone calls. And damn it, let's make this a country that my dad can believe in again.
Thank you. Thank you.